Pittsburgh. They're now 10 back of the Pirates. They go at it again.
Lord?
Okay.
Music now from the new Neville Brothers at 10, from the loser's face to the winners. I always imagine this giant hook coming in from the wings, dragging the poor devil out of the studio with as little fuss as possible. And how about those prizes? As we'll find out, if you want to win the big prizes, head south, baby, head south. It's coming up to, it is 1 minute before 5 o'clock. Welcome back. I'm Sue Prestige, and this is Final Jeopardy. No, this is later the same day, hour 2. Sorry, got a bit carried away there. Whenever Jeopardy comes on, my husband and I have this battle to see who can answer the most number of questions, and who will win that all-expense-paid trip to take the garbage out. Of course, we're not playing in the big leagues like 3 of my guests in this hour. They've all been contestants on The Real Thing, and they'll tell me what it takes to guess what's behind door number 1. And there will be only a certain number of winners on election night, and you will be responsible for deciding who those winners will be. Jim Curran was Trumper.
Yeah, I know a lot of BC.
Quick, see you tomorrow.
Okay, Sue, bye-bye.
You're listening to Later the Same Day on CBC Radio. I'm Sue Prestige. Here now is Lava Hay with Fall With You. Last weekend, the folks from Wheel of Fortune were in Toronto to line up new recruits for the game show. Hundreds of people showed up for the auditions. So this afternoon, I thought I'd check in with a couple of veteran game show players to find out what it takes to win. But first, here's a clip from one of the first game shows ever. Here's Feather Your Nest.
Congratulations, and to you, ladies, I hope you enjoy the prizes you've won. Right now, I guess that's about all the time we have, except what have we got for tomorrow?
Oh, we have a lovely bedroom tomorrow in the American traditional design.
Be sure you join us. And until we see you again, of course, keep those cards coming in, don't forget. Get in on the contest for the prizes as well as for the drawing for that house. It's still going on right up to the last day, which is July 1st. So until we see you tomorrow, right, it sure is. Happy feathers to you.
That particular game show isn't around anymore, but there have been hundreds of others invented since then. Dan Osborne made his debut back in 1955 with Feather Your Nest when it was all the rage. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Sue.
Feather Your Nest. What a story. I don't even remember that one. What was it? What were the rules of the game?
One of the biggest TV game shows coming out of New York at the time. And you had to accumulate enough correct questions to enable you to answer the grand finale question.
The biggie.
Mm-hmm.
How did you end up on a game show?
My father was a Canadian Army officer stationed in the southern states, and we were in New York on holidays, and we thought it would be fun to go and see the shooting of a TV game show, and they invited us after the show to stay behind, and would we interview and would we agree to be on a show at a future date, which turns out to be about a week later, so it resulted in a bit of expense for us to hang around New York. But we did, and we got on the show. There was my father, my mother, and myself.
And you were how old?
I was 9.
What sorts of questions did you have to answer?
Well, I remember contributing to one question where they named 3 planets, and my father had to come up with the names of 3 other ones, and I was able to throw in, I remember vividly, I was able to throw in Jupiter. That enabled us to win that question and move on.
Well, now, as a kid of 9 years old, what did you think of all of this?
Well, I thought it was pretty exciting. I mean, this was, television was pretty new at the time. I was pretty excited about being in New York and being on this thing, and I'm a ham anyway, so I thought it was great. But it was certainly exciting to win.
Well, we just happen to have a recording of that game show, and I can't resist playing the winning question. Here it is.
Now, in 15 seconds from the time I say go, tell me who I am. A growing plant am I. My fame is riding high. Think of a number and cash that's paid. Folks like me have a parade. Who am I? Go. A growing plant am I. My fame is riding high. Think of a number and cash that's paid. Folks like me have a parade. Take a guess. Quick. Quick, take a guess. Take a guess.
Herb Shriner.
Herb Shriner's right. You got the home.
What's your most vivid memory at that moment? Were you just thrilled to bits with the prize?
Well, I could hardly be thrilled as a 9-year-old winning a bunch of kitchen cupboards. mean, we won an entire kitchen, and so I wasn't really excited about that, but I must admit I was worried for a second that he wasn't going to get the question right.
Oh, really? So there was a hesitation.
At the last second, as you heard, when he got the question, we thought, my goodness. But no, we won the whole kitchen and everything, fridge, stove, dishwasher, pots, you name it, the whole works.
Well, you said you weren't very impressed as a 9-year-old. How about your parents? Were they impressed?
Well, they were and they weren't. As an Army officer, we lived in Army quarters, and of course all of the cupboards and everything are provided. So a great deal of good all of this was going to do to us. It was shipped down to Georgia, where we were living, and of course it all arrived and it all went in the garage.
Do you remember how long you lugged all that kitchen paraphernalia around?
I remember exactly. In university in Edmonton in about 1968, selling the remaining cupboards that had never been installed anywhere but had made the trip from the States to storage while we were in Germany, then to Calgary, then to Edmonton, and I remember picking up, I don't know what it was at the time, but it was enough to buy a couple of pizzas anyway for some kitchen cupboards.
13 years later.
Yes.
Dan, thanks so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Sue.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dan Osborne, he had his 15 minutes of fame when he was only 9 years old. Jeff Kirsch was a contestant on Split Second a couple of years ago. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Sue.
Now, we're talking Canadian content here. Is this a lavish production?
Well, not exactly a lavish production. It was filmed actually out on Lakeshore Boulevard in a fairly run-down studio, as it turned out. But in the end, we didn't just win light bulbs as on other